Now let's learn how to do predictive scaling for EC2 instances within AWS. An AWS auto-scaling group is a collection of EC2 instances that automatically adjust its size to maintain optimal application performance and availability. It uses predefined rules to add or remove instances based on demand, ensuring that you have the right number of servers running at all times while balancing cost and performance. So let's take a look how to do that. Go to this link and click on Create Auto-Scaling Group. Once you're in, name your auto-scaling group. I'm going to name it as Test Scaling Group 1. Now I have a test template that's already been created. If you don't have one, you can click on Create a Launch Template and start creating one. I'm going to use the one that I've already created. I'm going to click on Next. Next, you're able to add instant type requirements. Over here, you're able to specify the number of vCPUs that you'd like to allocate for each instance. You can set a minute and max value. I'm going to set it as 1 in 10, and over here you can set the minimum and maximum memory. I'm going to set it as 1 in 10, and then scroll down to indicate the availability zone. I'm going to click on the first one over here, which is US East 1A, and then click Next. I'm going to click Next on these default settings as well. Over here you can set scaling limits. This is the lowest number of instances you can have, which is the minimum capacity. The auto-scaling group will never scale below this number. I'm going to leave it at 1. Over here we have the maximum capacity, which is the highest number of instances your group can have. The auto-scaling group will never scale above this number even if demand is very high. I'm going to set this at 10 and then click Next. Click Next on this as well and then click Next. Everything looks good on this review section. I'm going to click on Create Auto-Scaling Group. There we go. We've now created our auto-scaling group. Now go over to the AWS auto-scaling plan where you can create your auto-scaling plan. Click on Get Started. An AWS auto-scaling plan is a comprehensive strategy for automatically adjusting multiple AWS resources to meet your application's demand. It can manage various resources like EC2 instances, ECS services, and DynamoDB tables. Using both dynamic scaling for real-time adjustments and predictive scalings to anticipate future needs. The plan allows you to optimize for availability cost to balance between the two, and can be easily created and customized through the AWS Management Console, which we are currently on. I am going to click on Choose EC2 Auto-Scaling Groups, and then I'm going to select the group that we just created. Click Next. Now we need to name our plan. I'm going to name it Test Plan 01. Over here I'm going to keep the Optimize for Availability settings, which is the default, and I'm going to take a look at the configuration. The default setting is set at 40%. The average CPU utilization target value is set at 40%. If the actual CPU usage goes below or above this target, the auto-scaling group will automatically add or remove instances to keep the average close to 40%. This balances performance and cost efficiency. Click Next. Click on the auto-scaling groups drop-down. We see our resource. Let's select it. And once we've selected it, we see 3 different settings over here. We have the general setting contains the target value. You can also modify the maximum and minute capacity. Over here, it auto-enables dynamic scaling and predictive scaling. Dynamic scaling adjusts resources in real time based on current demands using metrics like CPU usage to trigger scaling actions. Whereas predictive scaling uses machine learning to forecast future resource needs based on historical data, proactively adjusting capacity in anticipation of predicted demand. While dynamic scaling reacts to current conditions, predictive scaling aims to have resources ready before they're needed. Let's take a look at the dynamic scaling settings. So this Replace External Scaling Policy feature allows you to delete existing scaling policies and replace them with new target tracking scaling policies. This helps streamline and update your scaling strategy to use more advanced and automated methods. Keep that unchecked for now. Next, we have Disable Scaling. This option prevents the auto-scaling group from reducing capacity even if demand decreases. It ensures that your application always at least has the current number of instances running, which can be useful for maintaining a minimum level of resources. Next, we have Instance Warmup. This setting specifies how long it takes for a newly launched instance to be ready to handle traffic. By setting an appropriate warm-up time, you ensure that new instances aren't overwhelmed with requests before they're fully operational. I'm going to leave it as is. Next, the predictive scaling settings. We have the predictive scaling mode. This feature allows you to choose whether to run forecast with or without automatically scaling your resources. Right next to that, we have the max capacity behavior. This setting lets you choose a rule for when the forecasted capacity is close to or exceeds the maximum capacity. You can enforce the maximum capacity setting to prevent the auto-scaling group from exceeding the predefined limits. The forecast period is set to 2, means the future resource needs will be predicted for up to 2 days. And we have pre-launch instances, which is set to 5 minutes. And this means that the auto-scaling group will start launching new instances 5 minutes before the predicted increase in traffic. This feature helps ensure that new instances are ready and warmed up by the time the expected traffic surge arrives. This improves your application's ability to handle sudden increase in demand. Click Next and review the options that we've selected. Let's create scaling plan. We see that the status is currently in creation. Excellent. Now that our scaling plan is created, let's click on the plan. And over here, let's click on the auto-scaling group and scroll down to the predictive scaling forecast and scheduled action section. Since I'm using a brand new AWS account for the purposes of this demo, we don't see a graph populated. Here's what it would look like in a production environment. See how it provides us a graph with the actual load and the forecasted load. And then here we have the forecasted period. It also provides the forecast for load and capacity. Similarly, we should also be able to see the scheduled scaling actions. So to summarize, AWS predictive scaling uses machine learning to forecast future capacity needs. Based on historical data, automatically adjusting resources to meet anticipated demand, it analyzes up to 14 days of past metrics to create 48-hour forecasts, updating every 6 hours and works best for workloads with recurring patterns. Potentially, combining with dynamic scaling can optimize resource management within your organization. This can significantly help you predict and save cost and effort in scaling your resource needs.